So I am going to go back to Inventor, and I'm going to look for a plane, one of our planes through the centre. In this case we could use either of these. They'll both do the same job. I'm just going to use the top one. I'm going to select it, and just to show you what I'm doing, I'm going to turn visibility on. So what I'm trying to do is draw a sketch on this plane. Sorry, this plane here. Okay, this one, which will allow us to draw something that's flat along the centre of this pipe section. So if I right click, I can select new sketch. Okay, we could have clicked start sketch and clicked it, but this is the same thing. Now I'm just going to, you don't have to follow on this bit here, I just want to show you something. If I move our view, we're going to draw on this plane, but we're seeing this pipe in front, and we're seeing behind, it's showing us everything. It's getting a bit confusing. If I was to draw a line, again you don't have to do this, I'm just showing you, if I was to draw a line, we're drawing on this plane here at the moment because we're set to sketch mode. And if I draw a line there, and I look directly on this, you see you can't see all the line because it's going through the centre, but it's blocked by the feature. Okay, so whenever you're drawing through an object like this, it's a good idea if you, in sketch mode, which we're in because we have all the lines and circles, if you right click and click on slice graphics. There we go. Now what that does is it takes away everything that's blocking your view and lets you see as if you've cut your feature and cut your part, and you can draw. You haven't cut it, nothing's been cut, nothing's been removed, you haven't deleted anything, so don't worry, it's just a view. You've just sliced it, and you can right click and undo it, unslice it anytime you want. Nothing has been deleted or taken away, it's just a viewing mode, and it's really, really helpful because you can see what's going on. Okay, let me just delete that line. Now we want to draw this sketch here, and we're coming off this side wall of the pipe, but the side wall isn't actually there. We can see it because it's part of a feature we've cut through, but there is no line there really. So what we do is we click on this command. There's a command, project geometry. Now what that will do, it will take geometry that's hidden behind, such as all these, and it will create a line out of them in our sketch that we can actually use. So just, this isn't, you'll see why this is wrong in a minute, but I'm going to show you it anyway. I'm going to use this line here. Okay, so now we've clicked it, that has brought a line into our sketch. And because we've got symmetry above and below this line, I'm going to draw another line just from the center point. I'm just going to bring it out. It doesn't matter how long, because it's just going to be used for our symmetry. Okay. So what have we got? We have a 45-degree angle coming out of this pipe, a 25 radius, and it goes back. This is 45 degrees as well. We've got this 10mm radius, and it comes out at 25, and this 150, 25, 200, so this is 25 as well. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to draw a circle. Okay, so what we want to do is set out this circle, this circular edge here, which is a 25 radius. We want to set that out, which is on the center line through, and it's 50mm out from the edge. Okay, so we make sure we're on this center line, and we draw a circle. It's 25 radius, so in terms of diameter, that will be 50 millimeters diameter. There. And we know it's 50, the center of that circle is 50 millimeters from the edge. So let's just set that now. 50 millimeters from that edge. There we go. So we've set this edge here now. We need to put in our lines, our 45-degree lines. So to do this, there's various ways we could do this. The simplest is just draw a line by eye, right click, OK, and then put a dimension in and call it 45. OK. But we haven't made it tangential with this circle yet, and we haven't set where it is in terms of distance on this line. So we'll do that now. We'll click on tangent, and we'll click our line and our circle. And what that's done, it's made it tangent. It hasn't extended it because just doing this won't change the length. But if we click extend now, when it does extend, it's tangential. Okay, and we can check out, we can click on the line and there we go. Okay. So, but to set this distance off this corner, we need to look here. Well, it's got a radius of 10 and it's 25 millimeters down, but it's 25 millimeters to the horizontal line before the radius. Okay, so I'm going to set that now. I'm going to draw a line and I'm just going to roughly by eye bring it out, make sure it's horizontal, and I'm going to do a dimension from there to the end point of this line and make that 25. And you can see we've set these lines now, so we can then check our radius of 10. We can go to fillet, type 10. When you select these lines, make sure you select the sides you want to keep. If we select these two sides, it will delete these ones. So we want to keep that side, and there we go. Just check it. It's put a 10 millimeter radius here. So that's given us our line now. We've actually drawn this line down. But there's some geometry here we don't necessarily want. This is only supposed to be an edge. We also need to get this same thing down here. Well, the beauty of symmetry, we can just mirror. We can select, we'll choose that line, the radius, and this line. And for our mirror line, we will choose this one, and we will select apply. Okay? And there we go. Now, all we need to do is trim parts of this circle we don't need. And you can see there's some, like, this is actually the dimension. What you're seeing here is the dimension. Okay, so don't worry about that. We have ended up with mirror line. When we go to extrude, if we select the feature, it will cut this in half because there's a line through it. But that line is actually handy in our sketch as a mirror line, so we don't necessarily want to delete it. Well, this goes back to something we've touched on before called construction lines. And if you were confused about construction lines, this is a good example. We want to keep this geometry, but we don't want it to be used in terms of any extruding or anything like that. So we click it, we make it a construction line, and you can. It's hard to see because it's on the center line, but it's actually gone dashed. It's like a dotted line now. That means it won't be counted when we're selecting geometry to do things like extrusions. But it's still there. We can still use it for mirroring and things. So that's a construction line. It's used to construct your drawing, but not as any kind of actual geometry, if that makes sense. And this is a good example of why we would need it, because we do want that mirror line, but we don't want it to be selected in terms of extrusion. Okay. So there we have our log drawn out. The only thing missing is this hole. We could just put that hole in now. It would be so simple to draw a circle and put it there, and you could do that, but I like to keep any holes like that, I like to keep it separate. I like to keep them their own actual item. And again, that's easy enough to do as well, so that's how we'll do it in this case. So we can just click Finish Sketch. And there we go. And we have our log there, because we've kept everything on 0, 0, we've used these origin lines, these origin planes to good effect, because we've been able to. If we'd have drawn this down here somewhere, we wouldn't have been able to use that. We've made good use of symmetry, and we've made our lives really easy here. Now all we need to do is extrude. Because we're using this symmetry, I'm going to go on symmetrical to offset our extrusion either side. Okay. Now it is 10mm thick. So here in this case, because we've used symmetry, our 10mm will be 5mm either side, which is what we want. We don't want it one side or the other, we want it symmetrical. Okay. So that's all we have to do.